Now, oh, there we go.
Here we go. All right, what's going on, yo? Welcome to the Fans Union for the fans by the fans. I'm here with you today for a trade deadline special with the NFL, with my brothers Graham and Logan. What's going on, fellas?
Blessed to be on the podium with two handsome men once again. Just sad we're missing one.
Hey, I'm here to inform y'all we all boarding this jet plane and we getting ready for takeoff. Let's go, coach.
Hey, it's that time. A real a real busy trade deadline to say the least that we just had in the NFL. Um, all right, so I saw this today. This kind of shocked me. Um, what do you guys think the average is for trade deadline moves made at a trade
Three.
deadline? Huh?
Three.
Okay. What do you think, Graham?
What for a team, like per
Yeah,
team?
or no. How many trades at the trade deadline do you think are usually made in the NFL?
Yeah, I'll say 3 or 4.
Well, that's you guys are both spot on. 3.5 on average. So we could say three. This year we had 8.
I love
Um,
it, dude. Because that's
quite a
what makes
big
the NBA so fun. Like, it sucks, but it's fun at the same time. Because NBA, every
yeah,
deadline is a big
NBA
push up.
has the best trade deadline,
So
no
fun.
question about it.
Yeah, it was fun to see a handful of trades on this deadline for sure.
Yeah.
Deadline day is such a big part of NBA, so I'm glad to see NFL is getting a little bit more that way.
Yeah, there's not really like too many horses that have broke out too far from the pack yet. So you can tell a lot of teams still feel like they have a chance to make a vie for the playoffs. So of course there's going to be a lot more traffic on deadline day, which is similar to the NBA, like Logan, brought up, with the NBA's playoffs being a lot more expansive than the NFL. You see teams busy all the time. So yeah, it's been awesome, especially for the fans like us.
Yeah, it's and I saw a guy bring up a good point too. It's weird how it's timed because teams like on the kind of on the brink, like I would say, like the Falcons, the Commanders, and the Texans are kind of in the same spot right now. As in, we probably aren't going to make the playoffs, but we believe we can, and we're going to play like we believe we can. Maybe some teams like that, and obviously, I think the Falcons should have made a move, but we're going to get to that in a little bit.
So what you're
So
saying is there's a delusional bubble in there,
well, yes, yeah, for
As
sure.
always in life.
right?
I'm
Um,
firmly in that group most times, so I ain't gonna throw too much shade.
well, let's actually go ahead and get into that. I think we would be remiss to start off with anything regarding the trade deadline that did not involve the New York Jets. I'll intro it a little bit.
Hey, we had to
Um,
win at something this season, boys.
hey, and it looks like they did because I mean, you. It's funny because I think last week's episode we brought up me, like I specifically brought up Quentin Williams, like he was going to have to be a centerpiece. I feel like to get some value out of it. Um, and yeah, so here we are, Graham. Go ahead and talk about your Jets.
Yeah, I mean we can hop right out with Quentin. I thought it would be Baltimore personally. I think I mentioned that while you and I were both hitting on Quentin, and his trade capital, if you will. Of course, that ended up becoming a first and a second. I'll just throw y'all a little bit of added context. A New York Jets like podcaster that I watch from time to time in passing, in the preseason, he actually spoke to a few insiders, if you will, and asked what they were hearing as far as what the Jets could get back for Quentin. And at the time, it was a second or a third and a fourth. That was the consensus of what they got. To walk away in early November with a first, a second. Granted, I know Mozzie Smith is like 200th out of 180 according to PFF for defensive tackles, but he is still young. He's from that Michigan class that won the Natty, and we actually have his teammate Brandon McGregor on our team as well right now. So a little bit of added chemistry points there. Nothing wrong with throwing in an extra body in a trade that I feel like you ran away with. Maybe not necessarily as the winner from a talent standpoint just yet, but what you acquire with that first and second, I definitely think can make up for what you're losing in a amazing player in Quentin. Let me hop right out and say for Quentin and Sauce both. Um, I respect and appreciate what both of those guys did for the Jets. Obviously, it didn't amount into a huge amount of wins, but to be able to draft two guys and have intentions of them, growing into all pro players and that actually becoming, what it is always good to see. Always good to see that come to fruition. They went through a plethora of coordinators in their time in New York, and for the most part, they both always balled out. Quinnen especially always played hard for this team. He's older than Sauce by about 3 years. He's 28. Sauce is 25. It makes sense why Quinnen was, kind of shipped to a team that's going to always have those win now expectations. Sauce, on the other hand, I think Indianapolis was really ambitious with this move. I think both parties, and I think everybody in the chat hit on this, can feel like they won this trade. Indianapolis had a pressing need, with their defense, and they addressed it with a guy who just got a huge bonus, isn't even a year into that bonus that he signed with us. And again, just turned 25 in camp. So plenty of ball ahead for both of those guys, but especially with Sauce. And I've been the guy who come out and said, regardless of what people say about the holding memes, the holding joke against Sauce, or the fact that he doesn't pick the ball off a lot, statistically speaking, I think him and Surtain are in a category of their own. And, people can do their own research on that. And, I implored him to, but, Indianapolis definitely got what they were looking for. If a shutdown corner is what they feel was that piece that they needed before this playoff hunt. As far as the Jets, in total, the Jets have 5 first-rounders and 2 second-rounders from this haul.
And that's over the next 2 years, right?
And I was just about to say that's scattered only over these next 2 years. Of course, with that, you've got the possibility of trading 1 or 2 of those pieces for, later rounds, but getting more picks. And fans are kind of all over the place with what they feel like is the best move for the team. I guess in that sense, I'll come out and say that I would personally like the Jets to stay put with the picks that they have right now, because the quality of a player that you can get in the first and second round of these drafts, in these next 2 years especially, could potentially be franchise-altering guys. And to have 5 of those over the next 2, the possibilities are endless. But I think you got to walk away with somebody like Jeremiah Smith plus Ty Simpson, Jeremiah Smith plus Sand next year if you go that route, Cornell Tate, plus another one of these really, young, promising quarterbacks like maybe Lagway if that's what you want to do in the 27 draft. But either way, you got to walk away with some form of those 2 top tier players out of these next 2 drafts. But I'm really happy about what they did. We weren't gonna win more than 4 games this year. What are we gonna, drop down that winning total down to now? 3, 2.5. This was about the future. This front office, AG being a rookie coach, Darren Moogie being a rookie GM. I truly do think they let their nuts hang and say, we're gonna have our own regime. We're not gonna try and thug this out with, a host of somebody else's players. If we're gonna get ran out of town, we're gonna do it on our own accord. And I think this was a great first step in the right direction for that. But I got tons of questions for you guys, but I guess if you guys got any, 2 cents y'all want to throw into that, in the meantime, go ahead.
Is Moochie on his Sam Presti right now?
Man, he was with Denver before.
Right. Yeah, he's their assistant GM.
I think he played a pivotal role in you guys drafting Surtain. Obviously, every GM, especially ambitious ones, are going to have big swings and misses. I can't sit here and tell you all the misses that Moogie has had, but man, yeah, as far as him being in this Presti bag, let's just see what he's able to do this summer as well, because I do see him shipping out a few more of these guys in the summer. But yeah, definitely, I feel better today than I did 2 days ago, and that's a plus, given what kind of season it's been.
Yeah, and my thing is with this is it shows something that we talked about, in our group text. Shows you how important a quarterback is, because they have hit on so many of these first round guys, including Jermaine Johnson as well. Like they've done so well in the draft everywhere but quarterback, and it shows how critical it is. Obviously, quarterback play it seems, and injuries play a part too, but quarterback play is really, kind of hitting them certainly I would say is the most jarring issue. So like you were saying, likely they're going to have the first pick next year. I think you've got to go get, whether it be Mendoza or
Simpson.
Ty Simpson, I think you've got to get one of those two guys. In my opinion, assuming that,
You kind of answered my question, Joe. You feel like
both.
we have to address that in 26?
Yeah, I think you got to go ahead and get it right away. And then when you have another first round pick, build up front. I think up front is you can never have too many good offensive linemen. I feel like, and the Colts, real quick, like that trade for Sauce, they gave up 2 first rounds. Seems alarming, but they are arguably the best team in the NFL right now. They give it the 5th most passing yards in the league, and you go and grab maybe the second best corner in the league. Like you said, I think PS2 is by far the best. I think that's pretty clear and cut. But Sauce Gardner's right there, right below him. So you go get a bona fide guy, all pro guy. The Jets, I think one thing that unfortunately showed is that you had these guys and you guys didn't win anything. Like, it is what it is. You can go get
you hit on the point, man. I mean,
you can go get a value for him. Go get, hey.
Yeah. If you don't have the
future.
quarterback, you can have a great defense. It doesn't really amount to wins in this modern day league. You have to have that position addressed at all times. Even from a backup standpoint, you got to always be able to, withstand the capacity to win from a quarterback position. So, yeah, I think both teams made out well. Logan, how you feel?
So, exactly kind of what you are saying. Jets are not going to win many games this year. When trading a guy as young as Sauce, who is as good of a cornerback, I know we were touching on this in the group chat, Graham, is crazy. However, you just got 2 first rounders. If you're able to, like Joey's saying, go grab a quarterback of your future, it doesn't matter who you trade on the field. If you get your quarterback of the future, it's immediately worth it. It doesn't matter who it is. So with these draft picks and the amount of picks they were to get back between him and Williams, I mean, there's a lot of picks there. All you got to do is hit on one as far as franchise quarterback. If you hit on 2 or 3, you're talking about building a foundation for the future, which is likely as well. That's very possible. You already got your wide receiver 1 of the future, in my opinion, in Garrett Wilson. If you can, and on top of that, if you can get Mechie, who they just picked up, or if you can get A.D. Mitchell, if one of those guys could step up and be a wide receiver 3, like a solid wide receiver 3, and then you go draft a wide receiver 2, like you're saying, and Jeremiah Smith or someone like that, like you really did in this. I think the Jets got more back than I expected, to be honest. So kudos to the Jets for going out and making these deals happen, because say you draft your franchise quarterback, say you'd go get Jeremiah Smith, kind of like what you're touching on, Graham, and then say AD or Mechie, one of those 2 guys step up as a solid wide receiver 3, or maybe they even are a wide receiver 2. Maybe you strike gold and they're wide receiver 2. I think that just really immediately, boom, that just puts the Jets in drive, Like right now they're kind of reversed, maybe neutral at best, but you put the car in drive, then you're ready to go. Like you're ready to put some miles on there and start building, start, seeing some things. So I think the Jets did great, honestly. I think the Colts maybe overpaid a little bit with 2 first rounders and A.D. Mitchell, who was a high second round pick last year, if I'm not mistaken, or 2 years ago, maybe. It was recent. With that being said, A.D. Mitchell didn't have really a spot in the depth chart for Indianapolis. Indianapolis kind of reminds me of like Green Bay. They like how Green Bay's been for years now. Like they don't have a solid ever since Devontae left. Don't have a solid wide receiver room, but they have such a good they don't have a solid wide receiver 1, but they have such a good wide receiver room. They do it by committee, and that's kind of what the Colts have been doing this year. I mean, Pittman is their wide receiver 1, but kind of like Watson is with Green Bay, but they don't have that clear cut like this guy deserves $20 million.
You would think Romeo Doubs is wide receiver 1, honestly.
Yeah, so I mean,
to your point,
right?
Yeah,
A.D. Mitchell was a rotational player until he had that goofball
fumble.
Yeah,
and that's what I was going to say too. He kind of played his way out of a spot in that depth chart, but even then, he wasn't seeing the field a ton. So
right,
I think between Mechie and A.D. Mitchell, if you could get one of those guys to be, like I said, even a wide receiver 3, it's a win. Like because the picks alone are wins, obviously. I know Mechie was just traded for Carter, so like you kind of get a little salary dump on that one. But I just
But
think
to your point, Logan, the Jets gave Philly a 7th and Carter to get back Mechie in a 6th. The
yeah,
Jets
so they
have
moved
kind of
up.
been fleecing, bro. Like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like Darren
Yeah.
Moogie has been cooking up some serious eats over there at One Jets Drive. I don't know what's been in the water over there, but
to me though, like it's easy to say they're winners now, but in my opinion, this does put pressure on the front office. Like you got to hit on these draft picks. You can't get all these draft picks and just lay duds. Which I know the Jets have drafted good, but you can also go back and say like Sam Darnold maybe could have been their quarterback in the future if he was done right, if he was built around correctly, which we'll never know. Right now, he looks great. Last year, he looked great. But, you know, when you do, if you get a Ty Simpson in there who could easily be a quarterback in the future, you got to make sure you play your cards right and build around the guy, which I don't think they did the best job with Sam Darnold.
no, but I mean, right now, I think
real quick, I just want to say before you go, Graham, that happens too much with quarterbacks too.
Absolutely.
They got the quarterback and they don't build around him properly. I think that is an issue. So, Graham, go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean, I think what makes things different this time around here in rebuild 8 in year 5 for the Jets is the fact that the Jets do actually have a good O-line now. So I know no one really has much of a reason to watch a lot of Jets football, but if you do take just a little bit of time out of your day and look into it, the Jets actually have had one of the top performing O-lines all year, and it's because they invested in it through the draft, through getting a left tackle in Olu Fashanu in the first round from Penn State last year, to getting 2 years ago, to getting Armand Membu out of Missouri, who's been one of the best performing right tackles in the league this year. That's how you build yourself up to taking care of a franchise guy, and hopefully we can do it. I think keeping Garrett Wilson and making him untouchable is another one of those quarterback-friendly moves that the Jets haven't made often. And the fact that we are, at least showing signs of a franchise that is capable and ambitious to do those things is the right sign, because defense wins championships might still apply on a game-by-game basis. But I think from a mindset and a philosophy standpoint with how you build and structure your team, the signs are like the proof is in the pudding within this league. Offensive minds tend to, have teams that have better trajectories and better records on a year in and year out basis. When you look at like the staple teams of this league, they're typically offensive, driven offense first coaches. AG is not offense first. Obviously, he is a former, DC in Detroit, but the fact that he's trusting Darren Moogie to at least give this team that identity, I think is huge. I got a few little other small things that I'm gonna just throw in about the Jets before we move on. I want to give Quinnen another shout out. He requested a trade privately from this team 3 times. He never went public once. There's not a shot in hell we get the haul that we get from the Cowboys if he goes public and tweets some shit like "get me out of here." You know what I mean? So, shouts to Quinnen, man, for staying solid, through and through with his career and tenure with the Jets. I definitely wanted to give you a shout out for that, because I saw multiple reporters mention that when all the dust settled, it was 3 separate occasions that he requested a trade. The first 2 times, the Jets felt like they saw him as too essential of a piece to let go for the rebuild. But the third time, Darren Moogie, understood his frustrations and got him out of there. So, and then Logan hit on the receivers that we were able to pick up. I definitely think, again, whether we draft a quarterback in 26 or 27, to have this amount of picks and also, revitalize your wide receiver room when you, without a doubt, were like the worst wide receiver room in the league 2 weeks ago, I think is huge. It's all the little things that, build up to the bigger results. And I think Darren Moogie is definitely nailing, that part of his development as a young GM. So,
and I think one of the reasons,
my bad.
One of the reasons I was touching on the wide receiver so much is just because I feel like it's kind of overlooked. Like the picks are obviously like what jump out at the page.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, the real opportunity to build your future. The wide receivers to me are sneaky good ads, like you.
Oh man, I'm a Georgia fan, bro. AD Mitchell was my lock screen for about a year and a half. That catch he had against Bama, bro. So like, with bias included, I feel like we made away with highway robbery. 2 first and what I believe will develop into a bona fide wide receiver 3 at minimum, I think is crazy, but only time will tell. And of course, I'm optimistic, man. I feel better today than last week.
Y'all got the Buckeye Slayers and AD and Arian.
I hope
Hey,
I hope we draft Carnell, bro. Like if we take Mendoza or Ty this year, I say go ahead and draft Carnell. Does Carnell come out this year?
I think he's I think it's his last year.
Yeah, so like go ahead and do it, man. Like y'all said, continue to be quarterback friendly to that development. You give a rookie Garrett Wilson to his left and Carnell Tate to his right, plus that Ohio State connection. You got Jeremy Ruckert, who was also a tight end who plays for us. I know he's tight end too now with Mason Taylor, but Ohio State connection at New York, is real, and that's what good teams do.
I said AD and Arian. I said the Buckeye
Oh, my
Slayer.
bad. Yeah, no, my bad. But yeah, AD and Arian, of course, with the dog connection.
Both got touchdowns in that game.
Yeah.
So, Logan, I'm sorry, you were about to say something.
One thing, I mean, I know this sounds crazy because it was crazy when this happened in the past. Washington, when they were still the Redskins, they drafted RG3 1 overall, and then at the very end of the first round, drafted Kirk Cousins. I don't hate if the Jets do that with as many picks as they got. Because I know back then it was a very questionable move, but if you look at it, RG3 ends up getting hurt. Kirk Cousins was a very serviceable quarterback for them for many years after that. And then he went and got paid by Minnesota. So
I thought Kirk was like in the 4th round.
I'm pretty sure he was the last pick in the first, like 31 or 32, a pick that they had earned. Double check me on that. Maybe I'm wrong. But
he's 4th round.
Way,
he was in the 4th round.
Oh, well, I'm completely wrong. Either way, though, I think it's a valid point. Maybe you try to get somebody there and add somebody midway through the draft who you think shouldn't be there anymore.
I wouldn't mind if we did something like if we did like a Ty Simpson, but like a Haynes King in the 5th or 6th. I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I was way off on the Kirk Cousins. I thought he was late first round. But either way, I think it's valid to do that. And then you got a young quarterback room that's competing. And honestly, this is kind of a great segue into who I want to kind of touch on the opposite side of one of these big trades, the Colts. The Colts brought in Daniel Jones and had Anthony Richardson. Obviously, that's a young quarterback room. Didn't look like the best quarterback competition. We all laughed at it, but it's paid off with the Colts. But I think with this move, the Colts are all their chips are on the end of the table. The Colts are like our win now mode is in the next 2 to 3 years. And with that being said, one of the things that I kept saying that makes it make sense to get Sauce for that much of a haul is he just signed that extension like you touched on, Graham, in the offseason. He's still in his first year of that. You guarantee got him for 4 years, so that's huge. You, like Joey said, 5th worst pass defense in the league, so you already got a corner that can lock down damn near that side of the field. Huge plus. And then on top of that, he's someone that's already paid, which plays in their favor. With that, though, you also got to look. Daniel Jones he's gonna have to get paid. And if you're the Colts, you probably want to keep him at this point. He looks really good in that offense. Jonathan Taylor's about to be due up to get paid. But one thing the Colts do is they pay their guys. I mean, Quentin Nelson just got paid. They just went and paid Cam Bynum. Kenny Moore's been paid. They have Grover Stewart, who's been paid. DeForest Buckner, I think, is going to be due up here again soon to get paid, but he got paid by them. So, I mean, like, they have some pieces. Like, the Colts really could make a run at it. I know it seems crazy, but no one really expected the Colts to be this good this late. And kind of like you're saying, trading the quarterback, or not quarterback, trading away some key pieces like that. But at the end of the day, you lose a couple extra games? You maybe guarantee a top 2 pick. Like, it plays in the Jets' favor as well. But I think the Colts with this move definitely are going win now. And another segue I'll do real quick. I just want to touch on the Colts real quick because I think it's a good move by them, especially considering Sauce is locked up on a deal and all that. I think future-wise, Jets won the deadline, in my opinion. If we're talking future and building and stuff like that, Jets win the deadline. But if you're talking about winning the deadline on a sense of a team who is making a Super Bowl run, it's the defending Super Bowl champs. The freaking Eagles, dude, just keep adding talent every single time. They start with going to get Jair Alexander. He's kind of been a head case. I do understand that. But if you can get that man on the right track, that could very easily be a great pickup. I think them picking up Jalen Phillips is huge. He played really good under Vic Fangio over in Miami. So you get him back over there. That could be a great fit, in my opinion. Then they also went and got Michael Carter, who was, going to help with their defensive woes. So all their moves are defensively made, which is obviously what they need the most help at. And now it's just about getting the offense on the same page. Obviously, A.J. Brown didn't get moved. There's too much talent there. I don't think anyone really thought he would.
I wanted to ask about that real quick. Because to me, there never was he a realistic target to get moved? I never thought that was serious.
You got to give up 3 or 4 first if you want AJ Brown to me.
Not mid-season. Not mid-season, I don't feel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Now,
Yeah.
I think, look, to me, there's 3 positions. And actually, you know, I'm going to talk about this when we go to the Cowboys. But finish your point about the Eagles.
No, you're good. I mean, that's pretty much me finishing up my point. I think if we're talking winners for this season and this season only, I think the Eagles made some fantastic moves. Jalen Phillips and Jair Alexander, very talented people. So I think those are both great moves. You also get Michael Carter in there who can maybe get back to his ways that made him earn that contract.
Yep.
And I also think with
I
Michael
got faith
Carter,
that he will. I got faith that he will, Logan. I do. I
and,
think Vic
and
Fangio is like the defense whisper, if you will.
And that plays into exactly what I'm about to say. The reason why I think he will, Graham, is because he's not the focal point of this defense, you know, like, or one of. I mean, obviously Sauce is in there and Quinn Williams, but like, you know, him being the Jets, he's like a top 3, top 4 guys you're looking at. With the Eagles, he might get hidden in there a little better, you know. You might not be as focused. And kind of the same with Jair Alexander. If you can get that man's head screwed on straight, that man's talented. He's injury
prone too.
He's a goofball. He'll go out there and be a captain when he's not supposed to. But, I mean, damn, like, he's got the talent. So I think they made 3 good defensive moves, the Eagles. And I think out of all the teams who are truly in the Super Bowl hunt, I think they did the best. I just think the Eagles have all the talent in the world on offense. So you don't really need to add there, even though they've added Tank earlier in the season and stuff like that. But I do really like what the Eagles did on defense. And then I would say offensively, the team that probably made the best offensive move to me is probably Seattle.
I was just about to say that.
I would say I almost wanted to say Jacoby Myers because I think that's a great pickup for the Jags, but I think Seattle got a real shot to make a run in the playoffs. I don't think the Jags do. So I think Seattle adding another threat on offense is that team's solid. Like, you still got Cooper Kupp on that team who is yet to kind of find his role there. He was kind of battling injuries as well. So, I mean, you got Cooper Kupp. Jigba is going berserk. He is wide receiver 1 without a doubt. Like, it is insane the leap he's taken this year. Sam Darnold looks worth every penny. You got Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet. Like, that team is solid. Like, I think Seattle really could mess around and win a game or 2 in the playoffs and maybe make a little run. Like, and especially with that crowd, you got that home field advantage, and any game in the playoffs is going to be elite. So I think on the other side of the Eagles, best team that improved offensively, I think would be Seattle, just off that one move.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. I think his name is John Schneider, Joe Schneider, the GM for the Seahawks. What an incredible year he's had, with nailing Darnold, grabbing Kupp, and now you add Shaheed on here, who is, like you said, is going to be the perfect complement to a real true receiver 1 in JSN.
And not to mention, Joey, they also had the nuts to, let Pete walk. I give them credit for, turning the page and, taking that leap with a new coach.
And said, take that sorry ass quarterback with you.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, I was gonna say Seahawks, man, they're, I think they are leading their division right now. They're in a gauntlet in the NFC West this year, but yeah, that was the move to me that was kind of like wasn't getting talked about enough. But I thought that was really good. I want to transition a little bit to America's favorite football conundrum and the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, so as we spoke on, they received Quinn Williams to go assign Kenny Allen, who obviously was a part of the Michael Parsons trade. Fantastic player, interior guy. So now you got 2 elite interior guys. And they trade away a 2026 second round, 2027 first round. Jets also got Mozzie Smith too, who is another defensive tackle. I love, as a former interior defensive lineman, I love seeing teams get built up there, but I don't know how successful it is for an NFL thing. Because to me, okay, we're gonna say give or take, Micah Parsons is probably the best pass rusher in the NFL right now.
Garrett, but still, I get you.
You have that, right? I think there's 3 possessions. If you want that guy or people want him, you throw everything at him. It's pass rushers, quarterbacks, and wide receivers. I think those are the 3 positions. you do whatever you can to get. I don't understand like what you gave up to get Micah or you gave Micah away and now you're throwing away draft picks to take. You gave away your most essential, probably the most essential position on the field, at least one of the three that I just named. I'm a little confused by what their idea is. I know obviously Jerry Jones is a maniac. He went on I was listening to the interview live that Stephen A and him did on Mad Dog Radio on Sirius XM. And I remember hearing him say there's a draft, there's a pick in the works that I can't say anything about yet. And then the news about Logan Wilson, also stout linebacker they got from Cincy, who anybody needs to get out of that defense in Cincinnati. But I saw that. I was like, this is the move he's talking about? Like, that's what he got stuff about?
Right. I thought he was hitting us with the ultimate troll.
Yeah, and then Logan was our chefty, and was sending us the tweets in the group chat as they were released. So yeah, that really shocked me.
Tweets. I was sending text. As soon as I was seeing them, I'm like, yo, y'all ain't talking about this yet? Sauce, yeah. What are you doing? The Jets? I'm like, yo, are y'all awake?
But Dallas, what do you do if you're like, do you guys see the vision there? Because I personally, I don't know how you can trade away one of the most untouchable. Like if this guy's on your team, one of the most untouchable players there is. And obviously there were some personal things behind the scene with Micah and Jerry, but this guy is one of the most untouchable players in the league, in Micah Parsons. And you throw away you throw away a first and second round pick to get Quinnen. So like everything you got, you kind of gave away. I don't know. It's just how do y'all feel about that?
I'm right there with you, Joey. I mean, I ask myself, just looking at things in a vacuum, if you will, how much more would you have had to give in the Rams to get Verse? I mean, you gave up a first and a second for Quinnen. If you'd have turned it into 2 firsts and a better player than Mozzie, you don't think you would have been able to get Verse from LA? Like, go and address the position that you just lost, to your point. If you're going to be giving up draft capital as high as first and seconds, to basically get a duplicate position that you were already stacked at. Kenny Clark is already a Pro Bowler. That wasn't a pressing need, even as much as some secondary positions, as you could say. I mean, they addressed the wide receiver position, but they need another shutdown corner. We've been knowing for some time now that number 7 is not doing it back there. So you could have addressed 2 different positions, other than D tackle again. If you were going to be slinging first and seconds around, like you were just giving up Robbie Chosen Anderson for a 7th or something, like what the fuck?
Yeah. No, Logan, what about you? How do you feel about the from a Cowboys perspective?
Well, like I'm trying to piece them together, and I was trying to get them on the same page so that I can speak on both together. So you trade Parsons, you get Kenny Clark, great player. Obviously, Parsons is elite, like top 2 and maybe 1 between him and Garrett on pass rushers. So you get Kenny Clark, great player, 2 first rounders, right? Solid move. But then you turn around and get Quinnen Williams, and you give away one of your first rounders and then a second rounder. Like, what? Jerry Jones, what are you doing? Like, I don't know how to feel about it, because it's like you trade Parsons, who's young, very, very, very good, who's going to be a Cowboy for life. Jerry Jones swear they had that agreement, all this BS. But then you go get Quinnen Williams, who's a great player. Nothing against Quinnen Williams, but it's like kind of just like keep Parsons if that's the case, if you're wanting to bulk up your D-line.
Yeah, that's
and this move doesn't make them a playoff contender. Like, this didn't address like kind of what Graham just touched on. Diggs is not your cornerback 1. This doesn't address your true needs. Kenny Clark is doing just fine in the middle. Javion Clowney's not playing bad ball over there. Like, I don't know. This doesn't address your.
Yeah, how much more would you have to give up for Brian Burns? How much more would you have given up for Jarrett Verse? Like, there's just a few edge players on the top of my head that, with first round picks being as useful as they are these days, with these two crazy draft classes, especially coming up, what could you have gotten at edge or corner for that much? Like, that's just crazy to me.
Hey, and this second round pick could be a top 40, top 45 pick at this rate.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
It
saying.
could be a good pick, like truly. Like it really could be I mean, if you're in the first half of the second rounder, that's still a lot of value.
Yeah, and you look at a lot of those guys, you end up saying, how does that guy not go in the first round?
Yeah.
That you get there. Also, I mean, kind of like we were saying to the point of Sauce Gardner going to the what's their heads. Like this is a counterpoint is, fourth most passing yards allowed as the Colts defense. The Cowboys are the same spot for running defense. So or for rush defense. That sounds a little more savvy to say. So that right there, that kind of throws me off a little bit. But I'm telling y'all, don't forget what I said. If y'all remember, I said this on the first episode. I really think you could see an offseason move that brings Myles Garrett to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the difference for me to go off of what you're saying about the fourth worst rush defense, the difference is no one's looking at Dallas as a true competitor. You look at the Colts and you're like, they could make a run. I'm looking at the Cowboys and I'm like, good luck next year, I guess. I think like Logan Wilson is not a better player than Quinnen Williams, but I think that move made more sense for the Cowboys' needs, I feel like.
At least, especially when you consider what's given up.
Yeah, like I don't know, dude. Jerry Jones is off his rocker again.
Because it's going to be one of two things, right? Hindsight's always going to be 2020. How the pick pay or how the trades pay off ultimately is going to say more. But just looking at it at face value, it's just, I don't know. It's puzzling to me, and I know it's obviously pretty puzzling to you. But hey, you know what?
Nothing against Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams is a great player.
No, this is Quinnen Williams.
Team needs in their current position for me that makes it a head scratcher. It's nothing against Williams. Williams is a damn good player. To me, it's just like your current position, you're out of the playoffs. You're probably not going to make the playoffs. You probably should start building some young guys. Like, how much longer is Dak the quarterback of the Cowboys before they get tired of this shit? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's Dak's fault either.
You can't win now for a decade.
Yeah.
And not win.
And not win.
And I'm not saying it's Dak's fault.
It's not sustainable.
I'm not saying it's Dak's fault. I'm more so just like, at what point do you just tear it down and rebuild and just say this shit didn't work?
Well, they just paid him a ton of money, so I mean it's gonna be a while.
The way these people are getting bought out and trades are happening with these big contracts,
Dak's been fantastic though. Dak's been really good this year, and like you're saying, I know it has nothing to do with him, but their offense is unreal. It's just their defense is terrible. So
as a point,
same token, like you never know now. Do I think the Cowboys are going to be a playoff competitor? No. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? No. But
like perfect example. As much as we shit on the Giants for letting Danny Dimes walk, and now Danny Dimes is killing in Indy. As much as we shit on him for letting Saquon walk, and he goes and wins a Super Bowl in Philly, obviously an arch rival. But honestly, neither one of us I might be biased for the situation, but neither one of you two should have any bias. Would you feel more excited to be a Cowboys or a Giants fan right now? Because the Giants just tore it all down and rebuilt, and their real rebuilding blocks right now look pretty solid in my opinion. Scatterboo's hurt, Neighbors is hurt, but then you got Dart who's putting up decent numbers every week. Like, I think I would rather be a Giants fan right now. Like, we're past the stage of like being at the hump. Like right now they're on the rise. No, they're not on a hump. I feel like the Cowboys.
I don't think we know for sure if Dart is as good as Dak, and I'm not even a huge Dak fan, but
I'm just saying for their future, not quarterbacks. Like I'm just saying for like the trajectory of their futures.
Well, I guess to that point, the two most important factors when you are looking into a future, quarterback and coach. I'm definitely not on the upside on the coach. So what the future holds as far as that, I guess, is to be seen. But I think he's on his last leg in New York. I think this team has some great vibes about it. Yeah. But when the dust settles and they've only got like 4 wins at the end of the year, 5 wins at the end of the year, I think Daboll's seat will get right back as hot as it was a summer and a half ago. And
I think he's gone this year, honestly.
I think
Yeah,
the dust
like-
already settled, honestly. Like the hype
Yeah.
around them left when Scatterboo got injured. I really think so.
right,
Like,
right. That,
that
yeah,
sucked the wind out of that team.
yeah. It's almost like is Neighbors even gonna extend at this point? I wouldn't put my money on Neighbors extending over there,
Yeah.
even with Dart being in the picture. So
But they
I
still
hear
got
where
2
you're
years
coming
for
from,
Neighbors.
Logan, but yeah. What you say?
So let's real quick. Let's go to. Do we have anything? Are we pretty much covered all the moves that have been made?
We briefly touched on Seahawks and Jags. They both got good wide receivers to add to their wide receiver rooms. I think the Jags needed to add a wide receiver more than the Seahawks, but the Seahawks adding a wide receiver just makes them that much more of a competitor, in my opinion.
Not to the same extent. So please don't take it at face value, but almost kind of like the Warriors getting KD. Like we're already one of the best teams in the league. It is what it is, and we got something to put a little razzle on top. Obviously, he's not the Kevin Durant in the receiver room, but simply as in somebody that's really good, but we're gonna just kick in an overdrive real quick, kind of like almost like the Dodgers, if you will.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
what
I like
about
that.
some teams that didn't make trades that probably should have? To me, and this is probably biased, and that's fine. The Falcons not making them push for receiver really bothered me, especially with McLeod going, having all the ins and outs of injury wise from Darnell Mooney and his inconsistencies to create separation. I think that was a glaring notice. Logan and I watched every snap of the game Sunday, and I've watched most snaps this season. Drake London is being force fed the ball. Like if Drake London or Kyle Pitts does not catch the ball, nobody is catching the freaking ball. Like receiver wise, we have running backs who are pretty prevalent in the pass game, but like Drake London caught three touchdowns on Sunday. He is the only air attack weapon that team has, and now that obviously there's not a ton of cap space due to Kirk, which also means Kirk is staying through the rest of the year. I do respect the Falcons actually for really holding their nuts when it came to keeping Kirk and not letting him dictate the terms. I thought that was really good on their part because they were gonna have to pay the salary no matter what, right? But yeah, I really wish the Falcons would have gone and got a receiver. I was really hoping for Jacoby Myers, but sometimes you just ain't got it to give up. But God, there's so many glaring issues on this team that would have been the one to I feel like should have made one.
I would say, yeah, I mean, I agree with the Falcons, obviously. But to me, maybe not a specific team not getting traded. For me, it's more a specific position. No quarterback traded at the deadline. I mean, you had Joe Flacco weeks ago, yes. But as far as deadline moves, somebody trying to go get a quarterback or something like that, like none were made. And I thought that was surprising. I thought we might see maybe a Kirk Cousins, maybe a Jameis Winston, maybe a Russell Wilson. Like there's a handful of quarterbacks we all would not have been surprised if they got traded. So to me, it maybe wasn't a team as much as a position. Quarterback is always sought after. Kind of, we've all touched on it throughout this podcast of quarterbacks are the position you need, obviously. So to me, just no quarterback getting traded is kind of what blew my mind the most.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked that San Fran wasn't busier on trade deadline day. They were surprisingly more quiet than I was expecting them to be. They again kind of like the Cowboys, and maybe we give the Cowboys so much shit that we don't give the 49ers enough shit about always being in win now and not really winning anything.
But they at least go to Super Bowls.
Yeah,
but at least they go. Yeah, to your point,
they make runs.
They only
make
have
playoffs,
and they have playoff wins. So definitely not the same situation.
Yeah,
but they're approaching cap hell. They are. Let's not avoid that elephant that's staring us all down in the room. San Fran is approaching cap hell, and they're kind of like lopsided on a lot of sides of their like depth chart, in my opinion. Like as San Fran to be as talented of a team as they are, there's no wide receiver that's really moving you like in that room right now. I would say there's some guys that are good. There's some depth pieces in there for sure, but this isn't me trying to like shit on Jawan Jennings or Ricky Pearsall, but I was shocked that they weren't active at the deadline. That was the candidate that stood out to me.
Actually, I do have a candidate, and it goes hand in hand with what I said. Are the Commanders throwing in the towel? That's the team I thought would go get a quarterback.
Is Jaden done for the year?
I mean, he hit for some weeks at least. He dislocated his shoulder. I don't know what all else it was.
Non-throwing shoulder, luckily, but that's
Yeah,
not.
but
I was just simply prefacing for
No,
anybody
no, no.
listening. It's
No,
not his
no,
right
no.
arm.
yeah, but like my thing is, Jameis Winston is going to cost you a 7th round pick at most. Like, does he even cost you that? You might could give it the 53rd man on the roster for Jameis Winston at this point. Like, I mean, quarterbacks I'm surprised aren't traded, but the main team is like, is Washington just
I
throwing in the
wonder
towel?
if Jameis's agent knows that guys like me and you say this every year, because I'm right there with you, Logan. Every team that's bad, I wonder why they don't trade for Jameis, because at least he's a morale booster in the locker room. But I wonder if Jameis's agent puts a clause in there like, look, man, motherfuckers is trying to trade for us every summer. If we sign here, we at least get a year. Like, at this point, I don't know.
I think that you bring up a good point too, Graham, about being a backup quarterback. Is you've got to boost your QB1. That's what you're there to do.
And
So I think
Mariota's
that's a
not
really
it.
good point to bring up. I mean, but honestly, how many more quality backups can you find better than Mariota for being a backup?
I mean, give me Russell Wilson or Winston, to be honest, or Kirk Cousins. I don't believe in Mariota at all. Dude.
I've
He
seen
has
a lot
not
of better
looked great.
performances out of Mariota than. Well, I mean, of course, he had the 400-yard game. Wilson did, but God, the lows were way lower than what I've seen from Mariota.
But the highs are twice as high as Mariota.
Yeah, but the highs, it's like.
And I feel the same way about Winston. Like, Winston might throw 30 touchdowns and 30 picks. He's done it. But at the end of the day, like, you're going to put up some points. I don't know. And maybe it's not those guys. Maybe there's a quarterback we're just completely missing right now, which obviously, like, San Fran, I agree with. But San Fran, like, obviously San Fran has a 2-quarterback situation going on right now, but you're not going to trade Mac Jones, obviously. But there's got to be
you just paid.
Yeah, you just paid Purdy. But there's got to be another quarterback out there that maybe I'm just not thinking of at the moment, but just not making some kind of move to at least get some quarterback competition, you know? Because like I said, if you get Jameis for a 7th rounder, which they have 3 quarterbacks, there's no reason why they should have 3 quarterbacks. So it's like, say you give a 7th rounder for Jameis Winston, even if he's not starting, at least Mariota has to be on his shit to not get benched. Because right now, who are you putting in for Mariota if he's not playing well? Who is their 3rd string, which is now their backup for the next few weeks at least? That's to me, it's like at least bringing somebody to make Mariota have to compete. If you're trying to make a push. If they're throwing in the towel, they're throwing in the towel. So be it. But Commanders came to mind as I was thinking quarterback still. But I do agree with you, Graham. But my one thing about the Niners maybe not making a move, maybe their thought process, like as Braves fans the last couple of years, we get mad when the Braves don't make a move at the trade deadline or whatever. But maybe it's just one of those things where it's like in the GM's head, they're like, we just got to get healthy. Like we win the deadline if we get healthy, you know? So maybe
That's
it's like
definitely their problem in Washington.
What's that?
That's definitely their problem in Washington.
Injuries?
Yeah, same with San Fran.
Yeah. I mean, they're kind of both in the same boat for sure. But the difference is San Fran's still winning. What's Washington?
Is Pearsall wide receiver 1 in San Fran? I'm not even being funny.
It's got to be
him or Jawan Jennings.
Well, it's got to be Jawan Jennings, I think. But Kendrick Bourne has played really good for them too.
Yeah, he has.
Okay, I forgot they had Kendrick Bourne, but I do think
I think Jawan Jennings is 1.
Real quick, Graham, before you go, I just looked. I want you to take a guess how old now with Jaden Daniels being hurt, the Commanders' 2nd string quarterback. I want you to take a guess at his age.
Is it Brandon Hoyer? Or Brian Hoyer, whatever his name.
Take a guess at their age. That's all I want to hear.
37.
21. I'm going the young side.
Graham is closest. It's quarterback. I've never heard of this guy. Josh Johnson, 39.
Oh, dude, he's the guy that came in for the Niners and got hurt.
Yeah.
The 3rd, 4th stringer that got hurt for the Niners in the playoffs, and McCaffrey played QB.
Yeah, and when they had C-Mac playing quarterback. Oh my God, yeah.
He played for the Jets 2 years ago, bro. He got a Thursday night dub for us. He's like one of them guys. He a journeyman, bro. He done played for like 29 teams.
I feel like I know too much football not to know that one off rip. That's on me.
Hey, he got some sick on-field drip too, man. Shout out to Josh Johnson.
So
Holding
Hey,
it down for all the backups, man.
to touch on
Him
the
and Tyrod
Niners,
drippiest backups in the league.
to touch on the Niners, and you were talking about their wide receiver one, Graham. Ayuk is set to come off the IR week 10. I don't know if that means he's going to be healthy and
More
ready
like,
to play.
yuck. Get that guy out of there, man. What the
I don't
hell?
disagree. I'm not saying I disagree,
Yeah,
but I'm just
they got to
saying.
get shit popping in that wide receiver room, bro. Especially while they still have Kittle and like the rest of those offensive pieces like C-Mac. Like, I would have loved for them to put some chips into the center of the table and like make some moves to at least be like a bridge into the draft, because I'm sure they're gonna try and get one of these good ass receivers in this 26 class for sure.
So, well, yeah. So one of the busiest deadlines of all time. My brother Graham saw his team really make a push to say this is our future. Also, worth noting for the Jets, that they were shopping Brees Hall, but a lot of teams were under. They wanted a first round or a third round pick. And a lot of teams were offering fourth. You know, they weren't giving them, and they stood firm and they kept him. So, yeah,
I like it if you're gonna offer Brees if you're gonna make an offer to him that is competitive and matches everything that comes out here when he inevitably becomes a free agent this summer. I don't mind that move at all, because it shows the other teams in the league that, hey, we might still look abysmal from our record, but you're not gonna just push us around. We got a price for these players and we're gonna stick to it. So more power to Darren Moogie. I really like how he's cooking up in the GM right now.
Hell yeah. You got anything else to add, Logan?
Nope. Think I've exhausted enough air today.
Graham, you good?
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to week 10 though, because we got some good matchups on both sides. The college and the pros this week. So can't wait to meet back up with y'all boys next week.
Hey, I'll say this, Graham, actually, and this is gonna be tooting your horn here. The Jets won on a bye week.
Yeah.
It's 2 wins in a row, bro.
Yeah, hey, 3's a streak. Let's see what y'all do Sunday, baby.
Hey, look, man. I might have to throw on some green. I was planning on dressing formal next week, needless to say, but I might have to throw some green on too.
Hey, there you go.
That's between us, though. Y'all know that.
I do want to also point out how the Colts will be introducing one Sauce Gardner against the Atlanta Falcons in Germany. I'm so excited about that.
Oh, is that the matchup this week?
Yep.
Yeah. We'll see how many reps he gets, though. I'm sure they're gonna sprinkle him in, but we'll see how much he's really on the field.
Yeah, imagine that. Hey, we're gonna need you to go to Germany, buddy.
I mean, I seen he was practicing today. So,
but all right, well, fellas, appreciate everybody joining us on a trade deadline special. We'll be back next week. Regular scheduled programming. When by the time you'll see it, maybe. But good brother again, Trip is getting married this weekend, so big shouts out to him. Wish him a million years of happiness. Shout out to our brother KJ. Just became a father. They told the social media world, so I don't mind giving them a shout out. That's a longtime beloved brother of all of ours. Yeah. So that's what I'm start calling him now.
We got some wholesome men, supporting the podcast within and supporting.
That's right.
The podcast, man.
So, well, all right. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Be back next week. Till then, peace.
Peace.
Thanks, y'all.